Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Azure SQL Managed Instance series, where we unravel the hidden gems of Microsoft's powerful cloud database solution. Today, we are diving deep into a cost-saving secret that could reshape how you manage your Azure SQL Managed Instances. Or you're looking to optimize your Azure SQL Managed Instance costs without compromising performance, look no further. In this episode, we are putting the spotlight on the Azure SQL Managed Instances stop and stop feature, a game changer for your cloud strategy. I will guide you through the step-by-step process of creating an Azure SQL Managed Instance and uncovering the untapped potential of its start and stop feature. Whether you are a seasoned cloud architect or just getting started on your Azure journey, this episode is packed with insights that can make a real difference to your bottom line. So grab your notepads and get ready to learn how to unleash the full potential of Azure SQL Managed Instances cost-saving secret. Let's get started. I'll be using resource group PG-MI-UKS for creating my first Azure SQL Managed Instance with start and stop feature. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this service SQL Managed Instance service here. And then what I'll do is I will click on this create SQL Managed Instance. And then in order for you to have this start and stop feature enabled, you basically have to see this option in your subscription, which is November 2022 feature wave is available for this subscription. Click here to learn more. Let's click on that. And then if you see here, these are the set of things that are available in this November 2022 feature wave. And I'm more interested on this particular one, which is basically start or stop, optimize costs by stopping your instance when unused. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create my first Azure SQL Managed Instance. And the first thing that we need to do is to flip this option from no to yes, which basically tells filter subscription, regions, and subnets to only show those compatible with November 2022 feature wave. Yep. So this is the option that we need to enable. So now it is set to no, and let's look at the regions available here. So if you can see, there are so many regions available. But as soon as I flip this option to S, and then let's go back to the regions combo box here, and what I'm able to see is I'm just able to see two regions, which is UK South and West Central US. So as soon as I selected this, what happened is it's basically showing us only the regions which is ready for this November 2022 feature wave. Yep. So what we need to do is we need to first flip this one on, and then we need to proceed further. And one more thing to keep in mind is I'm creating this managed instance for testing. It's not for production use. So I'm enabling this and also have this stop and start feature. And I'll be basically shutting it down whenever the managed instance is not in use. It all depends on your requirement, how you are using your managed instance. And depending on your requirement, you can utilize this stop and stop feature. Yep. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my resource group, which is PG-MI-UKS, which will hold this Azure SQL Managed Instance. Let me name my managed instance as PG-MI UKS, and then I will use the region UK South. I have two regions, but I'm going to use UK South. Yeah. Yep. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to configure my managed instance. I will go ahead with the service tree at general purpose. And then what I'll do is I will go with the hardware generation of standard. vCores, I will use 4 cores, and then storage in GB will be close to 64 GB for me. That's the max I'm going to use. And if I see here, the estimated cost is close to 851.68 if this managed instance is continuously going to run for 1 full month. But in my case, after enabling the start and stop feature, I'll basically be stopping this managed instance whenever it is not in use. That way, I will be able to save a lot of money. And without this feature, you basically have to pay the whole amount that you are seeing here. That's the only difference. I will leave everything else as default. And backup storage redundancy, I'm going to use locally redundant backup storage, and I'm going to click on apply here. Okay, so I have Gen 5 standard series, 4 vCores and 64 GB local storage with locally redundant backup storage. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use SQL authentication, and then I will be providing a username and password here. Here you go. I've selected the required login and password. Now I'm going to click on next networking. And now what I'm going to do is like I'm going to create a new VNet and subnet for this particular managed instance provisioning. One important thing to note here is like this option here, which basically tells like only subnets enabled for November 2022 feature wave are visible since the filtering option on the basic tab was selected. So basically we have used the option S for enabling just to show only the resources that are present as part of this particular November 2022 feature wave. So that's the reason it is clearly telling like the VNet and the subnet that is created as part of this feature will only be visible. So in my case, I'm going to create a new one here. Yep. And what I'm going to do, connection type, what I'm going to use is like I'm going to use redirect. Redirect mode enables direct connectivity to managed instance, resulting in improved latency. So as a test machine, I'm going ahead and doing it. In your case, you can select as per your requirement. Proxy is more secured. But the only problem is like there might be some performance issues if you use proxy. And in case if your traffic is going to come outside of Azure, then proxy is the best way to go. Redirect, for example, all your traffic to the managed instance is going to be within Azure, then redirect you can definitely select. Redirect is definitely good for performance. Proxy is good for security. Yeah, I'm going to use redirect here. And in my case, public endpoint, I'm going to select that. And what I'm going to do, I will leave the minimum TLS version as 1.2. Let's click on next, security. And then here, I'm going to leave everything here as default and transparent data encryption. So right now it will be service managed key. Maybe at a later stage you can, or I will change it to a customer managed key. Yep. So now let's click on additional settings. Time zone, I will use the India time. As of now, I'm going to not select this one. Maintenance window, I will leave it to default. Let's click on next and then review and create. So we have all these details here. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on create. So the first managed instance will have to create the virtual cluster. So it's going to take some time. So if you see here, we have a warning here, which basically tells that deploying managed instance is a long running operation taking up to 6 hours to complete. So it might take close to 6 hours to complete. I have seen instances previously. If you look at my previous video where I have created a managed instance, it took close to 24 hours because the first time you create a managed instance, it has to create the underlying virtual cluster and things like that. So the first deployment, the first managed instance deployment is definitely going to take time, but any other deployment is going to take comparably lesser time. Yep. So now what I'll do, I will pause this video, and once the first deployment completes, I will resume this video and then show if the feature start and stop for this managed instance is enabled or not. Okay, so the deployment is complete now. It took close to say close to 6 hours. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the resource, and then I'm just going to see like on the overview, if you can see here, we have this start and stop button. We will try stopping it, but before that, let's try connect to this particular managed instance. Yep. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the networking here, and then I'm going to copy the endpoint. We have enabled the public endpoints, so I'm going to open this. I'm going to use this endpoint and then try connecting to this particular managed instance. Okay, so let me use the SSMS, and then let me provide this endpoint there, and then key in the username and password. So let's connect to it. Okay, so I'm able to connect to it. One important thing to note is that if you look at it, public endpoint provides the ability to connect to managed instance from the internet without using VPN. So I'm basically connecting to this managed instance from my laptop. So if you see here, if you're doing so, like using the public endpoint and then connecting to the managed instance, this is very critical. That is, this option requires port 3342 to be open for the inbound traffic. So what I've done, let's go to the resource group, and then this is the network security group. And then if you see here, on the inbound security rule, I have added this particular port, which is 3342, which is required. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. So if you see here, I'm able to connect to the managed instance without any issues. Yep. So this is what I have done. So now what I'm going to do, I'm able to see that we have an start and stop for this particular managed instance here. Yeah. So if I click on stop here, the managed instance will go down. There is one more option where there is something called start and stop schedule. Yep. So what you can do is like in case if you plan, like let's consider you will be reaching office, or you will be starting your work around 8 a.m. and then completed around 6 p.m. So what you can do is like you can click on this create a schedule, and then now you can put the start day as Monday, and then you can tell that you started around 8 a.m. Yep, and 8 a.m. and stop day, let's say it is Friday, and then stop time would be like close to uh, 5 p.m. Yep, so you can provide that. So this way, what will happen is like you can make sure like this particular SQL server is basically running for from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So you can create a schedule that way, and also you need to select the required time zone here. Yeah, so that is the most important thing as well. So you basically have to select one, and then you need to do it. I'm not going to create it, but you have an option to do that. Yeah, so you need to select a time zone, and then you can create it, like for example start day and stop day, and then you can provide the schedule. So you can also tell like Monday, and stop day is also Monday, and then you can give like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So you can create your own schedule as required. Yeah, for each day you can create one, or you can do it for 1 week. But in my case, what I'm going to do is like I'm just going to click on this stop, and then click on S, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to disconnect this, and then let me go back to this one, and if you see here, the managed instance is getting stopped, and once so right now the managed instance is stopped here. So if you go here and then look at it, so you can see that you have an option to start it. Yeah, and then you try connecting from here, and then you will basically get an error. Yep. So it basically tells like you are not able to connect to the default database. This is the error that you are seeing. Yep. So we are able to successfully deploy the managed instance, and also like we were able to stop the managed instance without any issues. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Jai Hind.